can't even tell you how many calls I've missed where it's like I get an email. It's like, Kyle, we waited for 20 minutes. I'm like, my bad. Like, I was deep. I was really deep in a Cincinnati Bengals handicap. Just couldn't make it.
Hey, get the sauce.
All right. So what's up, everybody? Happy Thursday to you all. Hope you all had a nice Wednesday. What happened last night? So I had... so my under hit in UNLV started off looking like a shootout, too.
Whoa.
So started off looking like a shootout, too. The under hit. I didn't bet James Madison, but that would have hit. So the bowl games went well. As far as college basketball, Virginia. I had the money line. I should have taken the points. But other than that, not a ton of action. But tonight, we got a lot of NBA on. I currently have 4 open bets, but I'm going to hear these guys out, see if I can add to it. My first bet is in this first game. I have the under at this number, 210.5. To be honest, I wouldn't even be mad at an Orlando team total under or playing Oklahoma City here. I know the Magic are tough at home, but I'm on the under. So Orlando's been one of the slowest paced teams in the NBA. Last 10 games, 26th in pace. Oklahoma City hasn't been that slow paced, but coming off the big game on the road in Orlando, I don't know if they're necessarily going to turn it up and get out in the fast break because Orlando's got a great fast break defense. They play great defense in transition. So I expect to see a lot of half court here. Orlando missing Wagner and Banchero. Just not a lot to like about the offense. I get why some people would take Orlando plus 6.5. Oklahoma City coming off the cup game, but I just went with the under. I think it's going to be a low-scoring defensive game. 2 of the best defenses in the NBA here. I don't expect to see a particularly fast pace. I was actually expecting to wake up. I bet this last night. I was expecting to wake up and see this at like 208.5, 209. Didn't. Still sitting right where it's at. But yeah, I took the under in this one. You guys have a bet in this one?
I feel like I saw this one going back and forth. Like the opener was 211.5. I saw it as low as 209.5. Then I saw it go up to like 212 or 212.5, I think. And then now it's come back down again. So a little bit all over the place. I agree with a lot of what you said. If I look at last 5 games, Magic are the slowest pace in the league. And OKC, they're a team that can play either way. You can always count on both of these teams defensively, like you said. Magic, I don't trust their offense, so I agree with that too. The Thunder, though, they have been a team that can put up some points, but lately, SGA, he's been in a bit of a slump, and I don't know, making that trip back from Vegas, I feel like those guys might have been enjoying themselves while they were in Las Vegas, and I don't think you'll get their best game coming back, especially versus that Magic defense. So I'm in agreement with you on the total, and if I had to play the side, I'll go with the team that I feel like is more rested and more prepared for this game at the house, which is the Magic.
Oh, all right. Both leaning. Well, I actually bet the under. Ski's leaning towards the under as well. Chris, are we sweeping on the under?
Yeah, I will play under. I didn't play it though, but specific. What Ski mentioned was the thing that kind of kept it a lean for me versus a play. Like I'm not sure what OKC did after that game. Like how motivated they are after that game. Getting smoked the way that they did, going 3 for 30 from the 3-point line. But the team total under, Kyle, you mentioned it, right? Like I was looking at some advanced numbers with Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner off the floor. And they're scoring 101 points per 100 possessions without those 2 guys on the floor, giving up 110. And I think that's exactly what their team total is today, like 101.5. So if I'm expecting their offense to get worse, because OKC is a top 3 rated defensive team, and you really I think if we think about the players specific, when you take away Suggs, like what else do you really have for the Orlando offense? I mean, maybe a little bit of Mo Wagner, but he should struggle to score the basketball with Isaiah Hartenstein down there. So yeah, I think you take away Jalen Suggs and, they struggle probably to get to 95 points, especially with the slow pace that you talked about, Kyle. So just a lean because it is, coming off the cup game, no idea what they did, but that's the way I would play it. Also, first leg of a back-to-back, right? For OKC, they got a game in Orlando, against Miami tomorrow.
In my opinion, if this was the Lakers or the Warriors or the Bucks or the Celtics, if this was a more veteran team, then yeah, I would maybe look to fade them coming off the cup game. But I mean, this Oklahoma City team, I feel like, is still young and excited.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Like, I don't know. I think they could use it as a motivational. Like, they don't strike me as, and maybe this is not based in fact at all, but they don't strike me as the type of team that takes games off. So I'd rather just go under. I think we'll see a good defensive effort.
It's so funny you say that, Kyle, because when I tell you about like OKC all the time, you're like, oh, nah, like not tonight.
Well, I mean, we're talking 6.5. Some of those numbers, you'd be lying with them a little crazy. And also, a lot of that was before Hartenstein was on the court, too, when they had legitimately no center. But anyway, let's move on to the next game. We got an absolute battle here. Certainly going to be on my main screen. We got the Hornets Wizards. Good God. Ski, you want to take the lead on this one? I know you're a big Wizards guy. You've spoke positively about the Wizards several times.
No, this is I think the worst game of the day. Honestly, Brandon Miller might even miss this game. You couldn't pay me to bet this one, so I don't want to waste too much time. I'll just say whoever is catching points, that's who I'll prefer.
Copying, I was going to say that exact same sentence. I guess I would lean Wizards because they're getting points here, but there's zero chance that I put any money on this. Chris, anything, or you want to just skip on to the next one?
Just skip on to the. I will add, Ski, like maybe 3 minutes before we went live. Brandon Miller like went through shoot around. I'm interested to see how like you go through shoot around at 4 o'clock, but whatever, you know, like I just saw the report came out right before we got on. So yeah, I'm not betting this game.
Is the next one Utah Detroit? Is that what's next? Yeah,
should be
Utah Detroit. I almost bet the Pistons last night at -4, and that's the side I would go here. Is that this isn't one of the 4 bets I placed, but this was close. I think that it's at 4.5 now. I think the Pistons win this one comfortably. There's a couple things that worry me, but what I like is the Pistons have been a great defensive rebounding team, and that's one of the Utah Jazz don't have many strengths, but cleaning the offensive glass is one of them. And if Detroit keeps the Jazz off the offensive glass, then there's really not much to like about Utah. Straight up, they're just not a very good team. Also, what are the Jazz terrible at? This dates back multiple years. Defending the fast break. They're the worst fast break defense year in and year out. You could just have a field day running up and down the court on this Jazz team. And the Pistons have actually been a pretty good fast break team this year. They're 12th in frequency, 15th in efficiency, 13th in points per game out of the fast break. So the Pistons actually have an average, maybe even above average fast break. So, I mean, against against Utah, who I think we might be able to say they have the worst defense in the NBA. They've played a bit of a tough schedule, but I think we've seen enough where you could say this is the worst defense in the NBA, and the Pistons match up pretty well. This is what I'll say. I think Detroit's going to score. Now, whether or not Utah can score back, I would go Detroit -4.5, Detroit team total over, or just over 227.5. I would go one of those three. The angle I feel most comfortable with is the Pistons scoring points. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I can see them scoring points. I don't really trust Utah's defense. The angle I feel most comfortable with is you will be, I'm pretty sure Ivy's out. I see game time decision, but I thought I saw doubtful or out. So I don't think he'll be out there. And that's going to put a lot of the playmaking responsibilities on Cade. He's been killing his assists anyway. But I think they upped it from 9.5 to 10.5 once Ivy was announced out. The 2 games without Ivy, he had 18 in one, he had 11 in the other, and he's just been having double-digit assists like clockwork. So I think that would be my favorite bet if I'm betting this one. Cade over 10.5 assists.
I think you took a Cade prop last time you were on too.
Usually rebounds and assists, but it's usually 15.5. They did up it to 16.5, maybe even 17.5 now.
So Cade over assists possibly. Chris, any thoughts? Pistons team total over. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a solid bet. I did bet the assist over though. I got 9.5. Not yesterday.
Oh, Cade, you're on Cade?
Yeah, I'm on Cade too. Over 9.5.
If Chris is on it, there's probably a graphic, AJ, because
yeah, it was 9.5 now. It's up to 10.5, like Ski said. But yeah, team total over, Cal. Looking at Utah, defensively, last 3 games, 144, 134, 141. They're not even trying to play defense. Not at all. And to your point, I like everything you said about like the spread too, Kyle, except that Detroit hasn't been covering. I think they're 0-3 against the spread as a favorite in their last 3 games. But the other thing you always got to take into consideration with Detroit is how much how much their opponent forces turnovers, because we know Detroit can they can just hand the ball over to you. But you look at Utah doesn't force turnovers. So I thought you was going to mention that, Kyle. That's the only other thing that's the perfect part of the handicap for liking the Detroit team total up and over. Like, if they're not turning the ball over, they should get even more shots. Detroit's been shooting the three-point ball really, really well. I think they're like top 10 over the last 5 games. They shot it well against Miami in the last game as well. Every game except Boston, which the game I was on the over and went under because they couldn't make a three. But yeah, they've been shooting the three-point ball well. We know Utah is one of the worst three-point defenses in the NBA. They have been over the last few years. I think Detroit 7-3 to the over. Last 10, 4 of their last 5 have gone up and over the total. No way I could look under. It'd just be over or nothing, even with the number going up, because I think this day opened at 226.5.
All right. Let's switch on over. Nets Raptors next. This is probably the biggest pass on the board for me, although I mean, I would put this number like 1.5, 2. So at 4, I guess I would say Brooklyn would be the side, but I'm not trying to do that. I did look at it last night. There were a couple things I liked for each side. The Raptors should be able to score at the rim in this one. But at the same time, the Nets take a lot of outside shots, and Toronto does not have a good perimeter defense. In fact, at times it looks like one of the worst in the NBA. So I like the matchup there, but then you got to take into consideration with no Cam Thomas. I mean, how much of those, if you're looking at full season numbers, how much of that outside shooting is Cam Thomas? So it would be Nets catching the 4 because I think this should be closer to about 2, but I don't like it enough to actually put any money on it. I do have a bet on the next game.
I would only put money on the Raptors. I think that a lot of Brooklyn's success is Cam Thomas. Some more of it is Dennis Schroeder, and they're without both of those guards tonight. So it's just I don't trust the rest of what's going on. I think it'll take them some time to start playing without both of those guys better. The Raptors could get Scotty Barnes back tonight. He's a big part of their offense. They're at the house. They play hard all night. I think it's telling that they're the team with the worst record, and they're laying points here. So it's Toronto or nothing.
Chris, break the tie?
Yeah, I'm with Ski. It'd be Toronto in this spot. Just because I feel like I didn't really dive too deep into the game, Kyle, because as you was mentioning those numbers, I thought about all that too when I was looking. But then I'm like, do we really know what this Brooklyn team is without, like, not just Cam Thomas, but also, like, there's no Dennis Schroeder. Like, you know, some of the last few games, they've got absolutely mollywopped. I know they got smoked by Memphis. I can't remember who it was before that, but, like, we're seeing, like, remember I said this the other day, Kyle, the Brooklyn Nets were the only team in the NBA that had a season win total that was projected to be lower than the Washington Wizards. They were at like 18.5. So they, you know, come out here winning all these games. They're like, whoa. We trying to get flagged. Like, this is not what all right, let's go ahead and start shipping guys. Torn ACL, we'll take them. Dennis Schroeder, you go over there. So I don't think Brooklyn necessarily wants to win. This is the first time Toronto's been laying points all season. I did look that up. They have not been a favorite all season. Wow. So to Ski's point, you know, them laying a big number like 4, the thing that scares me off of taking Toronto is no Jakob Poeltl. So I do think that if Brooklyn could potentially have some success here too, that's a lot of offensive rebounds, a lot of second chance opportunities for Toronto. Their numbers are a lot worse with him off the floor. But getting Scotty Barnes back, I think, should help. I'll probably just bet RJ props. Like, RJ's been killing. He plays a lot better at home. So that's the way I would play it. But I couldn't get there on anything. It's a lot of the games on the board. And I'd rather go Christmas shopping than bet this game.
I miss RJ, man. I love Anunoby. I've been an Anunoby guy for years. And I said a couple years back, I would love to have Anunoby on the Knicks. I didn't know it was going to cost us my guy. RJ's my guy, man. Miss him. Anyway, I bet this game. Bulls plus 15. Look, I know, faded the Celtics. I get it. But, I mean, the truth is they're not covering. That's number one. I didn't bet the Bulls specifically because of this, but it is important to point out that the Celtics are not covering. If you've been betting the Celtics, you're not doing well. What are they, 3-9 against the spread in their last 12? They're winning all the games. They're like 11-2 in those games, but they're not covering these big numbers. That's number one. Number two, I mean, we know Chicago's going to get out and run a million miles an hour, and the Celtics, not that they're a complete fast break team or anything like that, but they're down to run sometimes, and I think they're going to get drawn into the game that Chicago wants to play because the Celtics can do that and still beat the shit out of the Bulls in their own game. Like, they're down to do that. But if that happens and there's not a lot of half-court possessions in this game, just think that favors the Bulls. That's the game they want to play. And What is the Bulls' defensive strength this year? Guarding the 3-point shot. They've actually got great defensive numbers against the 3-point shot. They're on the season, they're 4th in above the break 3 frequency, 7th in efficiency. So this is a top 5, top 10 3-point defense. This isn't a great defense at all. In fact, it's a bad defense, but one area of the court they defend well is the 3-point line. And that's what Boston is. They launch more 3-point shots than any other team we've ever seen in the NBA. So I actually think it's a cool matchup for Chicago. Get out and run. I do not have the money line, but I do think they'll keep it close and back and forth game where Boston pulls away, probably wins by 9 or 11 late. But yeah, I bet the Bulls at 15.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. I mean, like you said, I don't think the Celtics are motivated to come in this game and win by double digits. So it takes a lot for me to lay that kind of a number with any team. You talked about how Chicago, maybe can defend what Boston does a lot, which is the 3-point shot. I like all those things. I guess I'll lean with you on the Bulls. Other than that, I mean, I would probably go Old Faithful, Vucevic, whether it's points or threes, he's been pretty good. Tatum, I was trying to see if maybe Porzingis was going to sit. If Porzingis is going to sit, rebounds could be worth a look with Tatum. But those are the only ways I'm looking in this game. As far as the total, too, I don't agree with it coming down. Like you said, the Bulls are going to play fast. Yes, their defense has been better. I mean, I guess you said they're good at defending the 3, but Boston is just a different beast. I think they can kind of score on anybody. So I would think both teams can contribute in this one and get over the 241.
Yeah, I mean, especially if both teams are going to have 110 possessions apiece, then 240 doesn't seem that high when the teams are having 110 possessions apiece. And yeah, I don't know what Ski's obsession is with Vooch, man. I'm going to be out in Vegas late January. I'm bringing you a Vooch jersey, bro.
I appreciate it.
You're the biggest
That's
Vooch,
my guy.
Biggest Vucevic fan I've ever met. Chris.
Yeah, I'm with you, Kyle. I didn't bet it. I kind of wanted to see what happened with Hauser and Porzingis as well. I know Josh Giddey is unlikely to play also, but to Ski's point, like 15 is a lot of points. I know the number's dropping. To Ski's point, the total is also dropping. I just feel like, man, 246 is whatever it is, 243. That's such a big number, but I'm looking back, right? These two teams played on the 29th right, like a couple days after Thanksgiving, even with the turkey, kind of still probably not digest yet. And they scored 200. They scored 267 points. That Bulls good defense that you talked about, Kyle, still allowed the Celtics to shoot 43% from the 3-point line. And it was good then too. And they still covered too. They lost the game by 11. It was 129 to 138. I'm sorry, lost the game by 9, 129 to 138. So I'm only taking the points here and only looking towards the over. Didn't bet either though.
All right, let's move on to the next one. All three of us, I actually bet the Bulls. These guys sound like they're just leaning, but the poll, 55%, 25% in favor of the Bulls. So what could go wrong? We're all collectively on the Bulls.
You know, Kyle, if I bet them with you, you know what the Bulls do when we both bet them. So I'll stay off and let you cash.
Yeah, we can't do the in-show bets that we come up with during the show. They have a low hit rate this year. That being said, I can be talked onto a side here. I have a side I like in this next one, Pelicans Rockets. I'm throwing this out there. It's not that I necessarily like the matchup for the Rockets or anything like that. What do you guys think of this? So the Rockets, when do we like this Rockets team? When they're in their homestands, right? They've been traveling. They had 3 away games, then a home game, then an away game. If you rewind back, the last time they had a homestand was mid-November, and that's when they were killing it. When they went 7-1 in an 8-game stretch, covered 7 in a row. That was really their last homestand. So now they're back home, and part of me thinks this is a get-right spot. I mean, I'm not dying to lay a big number with the Rockets. They really haven't been good, and it's not even a homestand, by the way. They go back out on the road after this. So, I don't know. The Rockets at home, I think they're going to beat the shit out of the Pelicans, but I don't like the matchup enough to lay 9, especially when the Rockets haven't looked all that good. So, you could put up Rockets for me because that's my pick for the game, but I couldn't actually pull the trigger on it.
Well, one thing the Rockets have been consistent doing, especially at home, is coming out and playing for 24 minutes. They've covered 4 of their last 5 first halves. They've only covered, I think, 1 of their last 5 full games. And on the season, the first half, 18-8 at home, 11-3 against the spread in the first half. So if you think this is a spot for them, maybe they come out and throw that first punch. I think Şengün should be able to do whatever he wants as long as he plays. I do see him game time decision. And I think after that loss in that tournament, I think we get a good outing from Houston. So I would only play Houston first half. Number looks like -5 right now.
I actually see a -4 out there. So give the extra point on the graphic. So Houston first half -4. Chris?
Yeah, I'm with you here, Cal, too. So this was on my short list last night. Then I don't know if you guys were up last night or saw it, but the injury report came out at like 11:55. Like it came out like 5 minutes before midnight last night on the East Coast for whatever reason. Just wasn't a lot of things. And I saw Şengün and I was like, oh, let me pump the brakes. But to your point, Kyle, we know Houston plays their best basketball at home. Like Ski said, it's also in the first half. This line was at 6.5 yesterday before Şengün got downgraded to questionable. The other thing that you mentioned, Kyle, outside of Houston just shooting the ball a little bit better, playing a lot better defense. This is a big step down in class. The last couple of times we saw this team play was cup games against OKC, cup game against Golden State. Like, so they've been playing against much better defenses. I think their offense will look better against the Pelicans defense. Like, this is the Pelicans here. The Pelicans will also be shorthanded. There's no Daniel Tice tonight. So you just got Messi or whatever his name is out there, like trying to guard the rim against Şengün and Jabari Smith Jr. I think that they can get whatever they want. The other thing about Houston that really stuck out to me is that their offensive rebound percentage, even if they do miss all those threes that they keep taking, they should be able to grab all the boards. They're 5th in offensive rebound percentage over the last 5 games. The Pelicans are a team that's allowing the 5th most offensive rebounds. They just don't have a lot of size and length down there. So I do think that with Daniel Tice being out, I think the Rockets will play fast. I was listening to Coach Ime Udoka talk about, when their shots aren't going in from the perimeter, how they got to get out and run. Like they want to play a little bit faster to try to get some easier buckets in transition versus setting up in the offense. Also playing through Şengün a little bit more. So being a little bit more versatile versus shooting a whole bunch of threes. So we know that the Pelicans are not a great defense in transition either. So yeah, for all those reasons, I would only be laying the points and I would take first half and full game and I probably just split it. But I didn't play either one of them because I do want Şengün there. Steven Adams is also listed as game time decision. So I need a center in the game if I, want to lay such a big number with the Pelicans. But I think it's an absolute get right spot here.
All right, let's move on to the next one, which is one of the coolest games to watch tonight, spectator-wise. This will be an awesome one to watch. As far as betting it, I'm talking about Golden State, Memphis, by the way. As far as betting it, I mean, I don't know what these guys' opinions are of the game. I will say this line feels about right. I would probably have it at 1.5. So I don't know if I really love either side. I do want to place a bet on it more in a I'm just trying to gamble and watch this awesome game type of way, though. I don't know if I necessarily feel either side is stronger. I probably would just take Golden State money line. But it's not because I think that's the right side or there's value on that side. None of that. It's just kind of want to gamble in this game, and I'll take the Warriors. But I could be talked onto either side if either of you guys feel strongly about either of these sides here, Golden State, Memphis.
I want Chris to go first because I'm trying to look something up that really quick.
Yeah, no, I can go first.
Chris, talk me onto a side here.
I'm not. But what I will tell you is that because I can't play a side, Cal, if I don't know Ja Morant's status. Like Ja hurt his back, I think it was, and he's listed as questionable. Marcus Smart, I think, is doubtful. Moody is out. I will say at some point, Cal, Golden State has to play a little bit of defense. Like they have not had a outside of the Minnesota game where they won after losing the first game in the back-to-back series. They haven't really had a really good game where they've been able to play really good offense. Their offense has been trash and really good defense. The last game, they were able to shoot the ball really, really well. I think they combined for the most threes with Dallas the other day. The game damn near had 300 points. But outside of that game, their offense has really been trash. Memphis plays well specifically at home. Also, if you guys were watching the Brooklyn game against Memphis last week, that it was a little testosterone in that game between Dennis Schroeder, who's now making his season debut against the Memphis Grizzlies. It was him and the Memphis coach, I can't think of his name, Taylor Jenkins, were kind of going back and forth, and then Coach Fernandez got involved, and it was a whole thing. So I don't think Memphis is going to take this game lightly. I do think at the crib, they typically play well. They've covered most of their games. But Golden State, after giving up 140 points, I can see them coming out and trying to really lock in as well. I do think Memphis is the better team. They're in better form right now as well. But I don't want to play it at all without. I'm the opposite of you, Kyle. When I see a good game, I don't want to bet it. I'll just rather just watch and not have any.
I can't watch it. I'll end up doing something else if I don't have money on it. Like I'll end up. I need to put a bet down on it.
I'm the total opposite guy. So especially without John. If John was in, I'll probably look towards Memphis, specifically probably in the first half. We know that there's a history between these two teams. They don't like each other. All the Draymond Green stuff. Zach Edey is there. I think he should be able to dominate the glass. And I probably look a little bit more towards Memphis, but I would just probably play the money line at minus with it being at 2.
Nah, see, someone in the comments said doing what, Kyle? Working. Like what I'm always doing is I have all the games on and the TVs behind it. And I'm on my computer right here working. So if I don't have money on the game, I will tend to not look up as much and not pay as close attention. It'll still be on. It's not like, oh, I'm going to watch season 6 of Dexter instead. Like it'll be on. It's just, anyway,
same way.
Ski, did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah, so either last night or sometime earlier, Jaren Jackson Jr. was who I was looking at, and his point prop was at 19.5. I know he's had 20 plus his last 4 games, but it went up to 21.5 now, and a couple of those games, one landed on 21, landed on 21. But I was looking a little bit closer, just off memory. I mean, he usually has success versus Warriors team. I'm looking at his last few games: 32 points, 28 points, 27 points. He had an 18, but then a 31. So I think he can absolutely have success matchup wise here. And then I did look up Jaren Jackson Jr. without John Morant this season. He's played 11 games. He averages 23.5. So what I'm thinking about now is I would wait until they announce whether Ja is playing or not. If he is out, I mean, he averages 23.5 without him, so I would feel okay at the 21.5 number. If he's in, I want the discount.
Right.
Put it back to 19.5. So I'm looking at Jaren Jackson Jr. over his point prop tonight.
Jaren Jackson Jr. over his point prop. So you're going to wait, hear the injury report. Hopefully you get it in time to get the bet down. So it'll be Jaren Jackson Jr. over, but might as well wait, right? That makes sense. All right, so let's move on to the next one because I don't have anything on that I have down on that one. This next one, I think this might be my favorite bet of the night, but I'm hesitant to say that because like people end up betting irresponsibly, and I don't have like a huge bet on this. I just think of my 4 bets, this is probably the one I feel the most confident about. I'm on the Spurs here. I got it at -1. I like the matchup for the Spurs, and look, no question, the Hawks have played better basketball than the Spurs recently. Like, not even debating that. They look like the better team. But specifically what the Hawks have been doing that they've been successful with recently, I think the Spurs are perfectly equipped to combat. I think the Spurs can really make the Hawks' life difficult here. So this is not the 2021 Hawks team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals, those high screens and those alley-oops to Capella, kick it out to Bogdanovich and hit a bunch of open threes. It's not what this Hawks team is doing. This Hawks team is dominating the glass and dominating the interior. Not what we were expecting the Hawks to do this year, but they've really done a good job with it. That being said, it plays directly into what the Spurs can defend. The Spurs team is not a good defensive team at all, but they are good at limiting their opponent's transition opportunities. So the Hawks like to get out in the fast break. Spurs are top 10 limiting that. That's number 1. Number 2, like I said, the Spurs defense has been terrible against jump shooters, but on the interior, they actually look pretty good. They're actually top 10 defending the rim, top 5. They're 5th on the full season. So this is a decent, maybe even a solid interior defense, and that's where the Hawks have been taking all of their shots on the interior. The way to give the Spurs defense problems is shoot the outside shot, take mid-range shots. The Hawks have been a terrible jump shooting team. Check this out. Above the break 3-point shots in the last 10 games, 28th in frequency, 25th in efficiency. Mid-range shots, 27th, 24th. The Hawks have not been taking jump shots, and when they have taken them, they're not hitting them. The Hawks have dominated on the interior, and I think the Spurs are equipped to give them problems. I think the Spurs are going to win this one. It's disgusting. I know that the Spurs have not looked good, but I think this is my favorite of the night. I know. Go ahead. Trash me in the comments. I'm ready for it. I'm prepared. Ski, are you with me?
I'm not with you. I don't know. I feel differently about the Hawks. I still think they can play anyway. I mean, it's not like those players disappeared. Bogdanovich is still there.
Okongwu is out, by the way. That was another part of what I wanted to say is Okongwu is out, and what he does is it's been really helpful to the Hawks. But anyway, go on.
I agree with that, and I don't like that Okongwu's out. So I want to try to bet the Hawks. Really, I don't know. I think that both teams will be able to score here. So this is not one of my favorite games of the day. I'll just have a lean to the over.
Lean to the over in this one. Chris, are you with me on the Spurs?
No.
You guys are making me go to war alone.
But I do think it for everything that you said, Kyle, when I was matching these two teams up, I kind of saw the same thing. I kind of like it's scary to play unders in the NBA, but I try to be contrarian and give out an underplay every now and then. And this is the one that I thought could potentially go under. And it's for what you said. I didn't bet it, but it's for what you said, Kyle. Like I'm looking at Atlanta, and it's hard for me not to think about Atlanta as that team that you talked about, Kyle. Just a bunch of threes flying up, them making a bunch of them. But you're right. Every 3-point shot, whether it's corner, three, frequency, accuracy, above the break, three, corner, three, frequency, accuracy, not just for the last 10 games, like you said, but a full season. They are red. They are not shooting the three well at all. It's a lot of Jalen Johnson getting downhill, a lot of Trae Young pick and roll, trying to get there with Capella. It is hard. The one place that it is hard to score the basketball on against San Antonio is Victor Wembanyama because he puts his hand up and it goes through the rim. So, like, I mean, he's defending the rim really, really well. I really wanted to take Atlanta, but I don't like that as much. I do think on the San Antonio side, though, like they get a lot of second chance opportunities. Kyle, I'm pretty sure you watched this, saw this. They ranked third in offensive rebounds in the last 5 games. Atlanta is actually limiting teams to they're number one. Atlanta is in giving up offensive rebounds. So if they come out here with that energy and the intensity that we expect them to, I kind of expect them to have after losing to the Bucks the other day, I kind of feel like San Antonio also going to struggle to score the basketball here. So I guess I would lean a little bit more towards the under. From a trends perspective, the Hawks are 5-4 straight up, 6-3 against the spread as road dogs, and they got wins over the Knicks, the Bucks, and the Cavs. The Bucks twice, and the Cavs in this spot. San Antonio has been a home favorite 6 times. They're 2-4 against the spread, back-to-back non-covers against Chicago and New Orleans. Defensively, they struggled in that spot, giving up 116, 139, 118, 130 in their last 4 matchups as a home favorite. So I kind of wanted to get there with Atlanta, Cal. It'll just be a lean for me, but I also lean towards the under, I think, a little bit more at 234.
That's crazy because I thought going into this one, I knew everyone was going to hate the Spurs pick. I thought maybe I was going to be head-to-head against one of you. You guys are head-to-head on the over and under. So I was not expecting that. I guess as far as the total, I guess as far as the total, I guess I would kind of lean towards with Chris with the under, but I'm just chilling on my Spurs, man. I'll come back to like all the hateful comments later after the Spurs win. Next.
I have to say, I didn't think that was the game we were going to talk about when you said, I absolutely love this game.
I wouldn't
thought we were going somewhere else.
I wouldn't say absolutely love it. It's just I have 4 bets, and if I had to pick one that I like the best, it would probably be that one. What's next? Are we on Dallas? Yeah. I had a lot of trouble with this one. Do you guys have anything? I kind of want to take the Clippers, but the Mavs have looked pretty good, and I know there's all kinds of injury concerns. Is Kyrie Irving still questionable?
Last I checked, yes. Luka is out.
Yes, I'm going to refresh, but yeah, he is.
So we don't know the deal with Kyrie Irving. Yeah, I'm assuming you guys are in the same boat. What are we even supposed to do with this game with the there's no Luka Doncic and possibly no Kyrie. So I'm good. I'm good on saying nothing on this game. If you guys have anything you want to say.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but the one thing that comes to mind is without Luka in the games we saw, the Mavericks are going to play more up tempo, share the ball, and they were playing higher scoring games. I know the Clippers are more of a defensive team, but that's what comes to mind. I will be trying to find reasons to back the over. The number came down already, 5.5 points? At what point has it gotten too low? That's what I'll be thinking.
It's tough because you look at Dallas, it's like over. Then you look at the Clippers, and then they've kind of been an under team. This whole game's just tough. Chris?
Yeah, no, same. I won't add anything. I agree with Ski that they should play a little bit faster. If Kyrie is in, I definitely think it goes over the total. Remember we had, I think it was who was on last week with us, Kyle?
Oh, Lindy with the Clippers
Lindy,
over, right?
Clippers over, right? Like I kind of see it like that same way. Dallas wants to shoot a ton of threes. The Clippers will still be without Terrence Mann. I think he helps their defense a lot. Derrick Jones Jr. upgraded to game time decision. Like, I have no idea what to do with this one, but I do want to bet over, like Ski said. Just I stayed away from it though. Like all these games, like I'm cool off this one with the two best players on the floor, one being out and one being questionable.
All right, let's skip on over to the next one. Pacers Suns. Pacers crushed me recently. What game was that? Right,
Charlotte.
No, was it Charlotte? No, it wasn't Charlotte. It was. I'll tell you right now.
Nets.
No, it was the Sixers. I took the Philly -5.5 or -6, and the Pacers beat the shit out of them. Embiid played in the game and everything. Like that was Philly's best fastball. I should have known, trusting a city like that. But now Indiana, Phoenix. This is one I didn't feel very strongly about. My last bet is on my last NBA bet is on the next game. I do like this dating back to last year. Ski can attest. We like taking the Pacers when they were catching points. So this would be a situation where I would lean towards the Pacers. Not to mention we don't like laying the big numbers with the Suns. So we probably shouldn't be including last year's trends. But if you include last year's trends, you just take Indiana here. But Pacers have just really disappointed this year as a whole. So I don't really have much to say. I'm all ears if you guys have something.
I think the Suns have been able to play consistently for like a half. I think they kind of struggle for the full game. As far as the Pacers, they're so inconsistent too. It's hard for me to put my money on them. But what I always say, and I guess I have to stand on that today, I'm not laying with teams that aren't playing defense. And lately, Suns haven't been playing any. They're the third worst defensive rated team last 5 games. And look at the Pacers, number 6. So getting 6.5 points or something around that range. They've been decent on offense. They can improve, but they're healthy right now, or not fully healthy, but they're healthy enough. They're playing defense. I would be grabbing the points with the Pacers.
All right. Well, Chris, are you in? I might bet Indiana if we're all trying to lean that way.
It was a small amount, but I grabbed Indiana last night. I talked about this one on my show. I got +7 last night. I think, what is it, 6.5 now? I do think they're the right side. You mentioned it at the top, Kyle. Like if you want Indiana, it's because they don't play the defense. You definitely want to be getting a few points. And just going back to those last season trends, that was something I looked at as well, Kyle. So since the beginning of last season, as road dogs, the Pacers are actually 6-7 straight up. So not only do they cover these games, but they win them. Like they actually can win, a handful of these games as well. 7-6 against the number. They are giving up 124 points in this spot. So I do agree with the total kind of going up, even though, as Ski mentioned, they are the 8th best defensive team. We know that they want to play fast. I think Phoenix will play fast with them as well. But on the Phoenix side, Ski mentioned it. They're not playing a lot of defense, not covering. Just 2-6 against the number, laying points so far this season. So I think they match up really well. When I was going through the defensive numbers, Phoenix is top 5 offensive rated team. A lot of their points are coming off transition. They're 6th in frequency, 2nd in points scored per 100 possessions in transition. Don't look now. The Pacers, number 1 in opponent transition frequency and 6th in opponent transition points allowed per 100 possessions. So I like all of those things for the Indiana Pacers. I do think that they are the right side. And to your point, Kyle, I think that hopefully they become a little bit more consistent. But Nembhard has been back for the last few games, and that's what I think is it's helped the defense a lot. They're outscoring their opponents by 5.5 points with him on the floor, 114 to 108. With him off the floor, -6.3, 113 to 119. So they're getting outscored by about 6 points, but they're +5.5 with him on the floor. So I think him being back helps out a whole lot, even though KD is also back, but they're still only winning by 5 points per game with KD on the floor so far this season.
Also, looks like Ben Shepherd might be back as well, or he's listed as questionable. So another shooter back for the Pacers. Maybe I'll throw a few dollars on the Pacers. Let me write that down so I don't forget. Pacers +6. All right. What's the next game? The New York Knicks.
There you go.
I don't have my guys, but I do have to say I'm a little what's going on with the total here? Doesn't 214.5 feel high as shit? I mean, these teams have been playing slow pace. They've been playing great defense. In the last 10 games, we're talking about the first rated defense in the NBA and the 8th rated defense in the NBA. In the last 10 games, we're talking about the 27th, fastest pace, 25th fastest pace. So 2 great defenses, 2 slow paces. Minnesota's really been struggling to score. Granted, they've played a little bit of a tough schedule recently, but still, in the last 10 games, 26th in offensive rating. The Knicks have been scoring, but they've played a bit of an easy schedule. So on the road in Minnesota against what might be the hottest defense in the NBA right now, I don't expect the Knicks offense to go off. Knicks kick the ball out to spot up shooters a lot, 7th in frequency in that, whether it's the catch and shoot or the attack closeout. That's what the Knicks like to do. Minnesota top 5 defensively against that. Knicks have been attacking the rim. Minnesota top 5 defensively against that. Everything the Knicks do, Minnesota's great at defending, and then copy and paste that over to the other side. This Minnesota offense has been shooting a lot of outside shots. Well, let me introduce you to Mr. Thibodeau. He preaches perimeter defense, and in the last 10 games, we're starting to see the Knicks look like the Knicks. In the last 10 games, they're first in the NBA in above the break 3 frequency on the defensive side of the ball, 3rd in efficiency. They're locking down the 3-point shot, which is exactly what Minnesota's been doing. I'm expecting great defense, slow pace, both teams great at defending what the other team does. 214.5 feels high. I would put this one at like 208. So I'm almost a little taken back by, like, how is this not dropped? Like, what's going on? I like this one. I'm on the under.
So I don't necessarily trust the Knicks that much defensively. They have been playing better defense lately. I do trust the Timberwolves. They've turned it around ever since Anthony Edwards spoke up, and everybody's on the same page, playing really good together on the defensive end. But this specific game, I don't know. I feel like I can understand why the total is going up. You have Cat versus old team, Randall versus old team. It's going to be 2 guys really trying to put the ball in the basket, I feel like, tonight. And I have a feeling we'll get some kind of offense. Maybe if I have to bet it, I would go first quarter over. But what I did bet in this game, Karl Anthony Towns over 12.5 rebounds. Pretty sure it went up to 13.5. But he's been clearing that number too. I mean, he averages just shy of 14. And he's had 14 plus 9 of his last 10 games. And in a game like this, going up against his old team, I'm sure he'll be out there snagging just along with scoring. So I like Cat on his rebounds tonight. Is my best one for this game. And this is the one game, I'll probably say some nice things about Julius Randle. I've seen him play his old teams, and he does care. He was acting when the reporter was asking him about it. He was like, it's just another game, et cetera, et cetera. But I know he feels a way about whatever happened in New York. So I would be betting on Julius Randle, like PRA, something like that. I think he'll have a good night as well. Cat, the best bet, though.
Karl Anthony Towns over rebounds, he said. Was that 12.5? Chris?
I got 12. I'll endorse 13.5 too.
Oh, wow. Okay. Chris, what are your thoughts?
So we'll start player prop. I also bet Cat with Ski. I bet the rebounds plus assists over 16.5. It was minus 103. He's just been crushing the line. You can throw the assists in there. You don't have to, but he's up and over in 9 of the last 10 games, averaging 5 potential assists, 23.5 rebound chances for Cat over his last 10 games. We know Tibbs going to play his guys into the ground. He's averaging 36 minutes the last 10 games, back home for the homecoming. He's done a really good job of staying out of foul trouble as well. So I think he'll get up for this game. I think he'll also probably bring, I'm guessing, what y'all think? Rudy Gobert? Probably Rudy Gobert outside the paint, pull him outside the paint as well. So yeah, I like Karl Anthony Towns up and over his rebounds and assists. As far as the side, if you like the Knicks, you don't like that Josh Hart got downgraded to questionable for personal reasons. I'm not sure what's going on there. But I kind of want to stay off of everything, but the total kind of called my name, and I'm right there with you, Kyle. It'll probably end up being 250 points scored in the game, but I like the under with you. I do like the under. I feel like you copy and paste everything I had in my notes. It's like this team is doing this thing really well, and this team is shutting it down. This team is doing this thing really well, and this team is shutting it down. You didn't even mention like rim frequency. The Knicks are like really good at the rim over the last 5 games. They're top 5 in frequency and accuracy. And the Timberwolves are number 1 in that department as well. Both teams, like you said, play slow. The Knicks don't get out and run in transition. And to Ski's point, Ski said, he trusts the Timberwolves defense, but not so much the Knicks defense. Then I was going back and looking at it while he was talking. The Timberwolves haven't scored 111 points or more since the day after Thanksgiving. It's been like 12 games since they even reached 110 points because they've been winning with defense. I think 8 of their last 10 games have actually gone under the total. So I do feel like the number is too high, Kyle. It was at 215.5 last night, and I still didn't bet it because I was thinking it was going to continue to go up. But yeah, I like the under here, but I did play Carl-Anthony Towns up and over his rebounds and assists.
Someone said missing the game for personal reasons, in parentheses, ducking smoke. But something else, you mentioned Josh Hart's questionable. He leads the Knicks in usage and transition. So not having Josh Hart, although he's a good defender, would slow the pace down of the game, in my opinion, as well. So, all right, let's switch on over to the next game. What's next? Denver, Portland, and Portland. Bro, I don't freaking know. I don't even understand this Nuggets team this year. Okay, so I guess we're a fast-paced, fast-break team now. It's like the opposite of what the Nuggets were last year. I don't even know how to. I don't get it. I feel like I don't know anything about the Nuggets. Don't know what they're trying to do. Not that they're playing poorly. It's just so the opposite from what they were doing last year. So, I looked at this game for a total of about 30 seconds and said, I'm not betting this. So if you guys have anything you want to share, I'm good. Ski, you're muted.
My bad. I looked at it longer than I should have. My thought was, Denver was off of a couple really good shooting games. Maybe their shooting regresses a little bit. And then I look at Portland. I'm like, I wouldn't really trust their defense. And that's a no. For the Portland side, they've been really struggling to score. And I don't think the Nuggets defense is that strong. Like the Nuggets defense is kind of middle of the pack, I think. So I was thinking Blazers team total under. I saw 113.5. They have stayed under that for their last 5 games. They've been really struggling to score. So I guess if I have to play something, I'll just go Blazers team total under 113.5.
Yeah, and I mean what Ski just said, the Blazers offensive rating not only terrible, they've been running slow pace as well. And that was another reason I stayed off, is the teams are just, Denver's been running fast pace, Portland's been running slow pace. Denver gets out in transition, Portland doesn't. I just couldn't figure out. I couldn't even put my finger on how I expected the game flow to go. I just have no idea what to expect. Chris?
I'm right there with you, Kyle. I looked at this one for and I never look at games for 30 seconds. I always try to find something. I was like, yeah, I'm staying far away from this one. I don't get the Denver stuff either. Do they dictate pace? Because if so, it's an over game. If Portland, dictates pace, then of course it's probably going to be a little bit of an under game. Yeah, I'm not going to waste the people's time. I got nothing on this one.
Yeah, let's move on to we got quite the game here. Ski hates the Kings. The Kings have really crushed. Actually, isn't the Kings, they're good in LA, is it? There's something with the Kings and Lakers where there's a trend.
They're good everywhere.
Play the Lakers very well.
Yeah, it was the Lonzo Ball, De'Aaron Fox thing when they got drafted. They beaten us 8 of the last 10 games.
You hate to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hate to see it. Yeah, we really hate to see it, Kyle. We're not being sarcastic. Me and Ski we really hate to see it.
Hold on, I got a Kings hat right here. All right. So go ahead. I want one of you guys to take the Lakers.
Kyle is hilarious, man. Gotta throw the Kings hat on for it.
In all seriousness, I didn't bet this one, but I am leaning Kings. But if go ahead, Ski. I
think I don't want to put my money on the Lakers in general right now until they show me some kind of consistency. I just don't trust anything that they're doing right now. For the Kings, I don't like that a couple guys are game time decision. Murray, Sabonis, Herter. I think the Kings are the kind of team that really needs everybody healthy to be successful. The thing, though, Chris already mentioned it. Since the De'Aaron Fox and Lonzo thing, I mean, Fox absolutely, every time he sees the Lakers, he just takes it personal. Even since Lonzo left and he has success. We look at the other side. It's not a lot of good perimeter defense. I mean, maybe they try to have Max Christie do something, but I'm not going to trust it versus De'Aaron Fox. So I think Fox can put up as many points as he wants. Malik Monk used to play for the Lakers, and he's been having a lot of success lately too. I could look at his point prop as well. So I would play on both the Sacramento guards, and that would be all I can do in this game.
I'd be scared to bet your team if I were you too, Ski. Don't worry.
I
bet one of my teams today.
Chris,
is the line moving?
Let me look.
No.
No? Okay. The only reason I asked is because I don't know if it got like.
I do
reported.
see a couple 5.5s.
Oh, is that high in there already? So the reason why I asked is because I don't see this tweeted out through Underdog, but Sean Cunningham, who covers the team, I'm looking at this 3 minutes ago. According to sources, Keegan Murray, Sabonis, and Kevin Huerter will be available to play when the Kings host the Lakers tonight.
Blowout.
So, those guys are going to play, and I'll probably be on Sacramento. It's not a good spot for the Lakers. The Kings are playing much better offensively. I think they're the number one rated offensive team over the last 5 games. Defensively, they've crept into the top 5 and top 10 in defensive rating over the last 5 games, which is really interesting to me. Playing at the 7th fastest pace. We know that the Lakers don't want to back down in that department. And I feel like the Kings, the thing that they struggle with is 3-point shooters. The Lakers don't have many. So it would only be the Kings in this spot for me, but I'm not betting against my team. I'd much rather just go to sleep.
Kevin McIver's in the comments. He said, I want Kings -4.5. Tell Ski to put the belt up. No, he's not doing it. People in the comments are trying to get him to put the belt up.
Hey, the number, Cal, if you really wanted, the number is about to move because Underdog just reported it. That number is probably about to move to 6 now.
Sounds like you're trying to goad me into it now.
No, I'm just saying, I'm not betting against them, betting against the Lakers, but maybe I'll take I do think the Kings gonna win the game. Maybe I'll put him in a little money line.
Is LeBron playing?
Yeah, he's questionable. AD is probable.
But is it like a LeBron questionable? Is it a real questionable?
I think he's gonna play. What is it? The Lakers have been off for what, 3 or 4 days now? 3 days? He's only played 1 game in
But
2
he was
weeks.
dealing with some personal whatever.
No, he wasn't. His foot was hurt. He was all right. He
Wait,
was chilling. When you get old, you take extra days off.
Is that how it works? Is that how it works?
Absolutely.
Oh, when you get old, you take extra days off.
Well, we haven't seen anybody that plays at this level for this long in their career. So yeah, he's setting new standards.
All right. Clear the
So
board.
everybody on the Kings, huh?
Yeah, I don't like that. Not only is everyone on the Kings, everyone's throwing laughing emojis in the fucking comments. Everyone's like, yeah, King, bet the Lakers.
They think this shit is sweet, huh?
Yeah, they think shit is sweet. Everyone's bet the Kings and they think shit is sweet. So I don't know if I'm actually going to pull the trigger on it. I'll chill with my Spurs. Everyone hated that one. All right, so real quick, before we move on to college football and NFL, make sure you give these guys a follow. Their Twitter names are on the screen. They each have their own YouTube channels and do daily shows. Chris is in the morning, Ski's in the afternoon. Appreciate you guys taking the time. Make sure you show those guys some support. You'll find me in their comments sometimes during their daily live shows. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for having me. Go Bolts.
Go Bolts. I'm on the
Best
Bolts
of luck
too.
tonight, fellas.
Let me mute this guy. This dude's sitting there just complaining the entire time. Had to mute him. All right. College football bowl games. We got an absolute shootout of a game. Georgia Southern, Sam Houston State. Let's bring on a couple of guys here.
Let me tell you though, the thing I want to come back to is definitely in this game. This is why I was waiting 2 weeks to be on the show
for this game right here. Georgia Southern, Sam Houston State. Andy, do you have anything here?
I like Sam Houston State. The numbers continuously gone down, which kind of scares me because it was 6.5 last night, right? When we did the video, and at that point I was like, why the hell?
No, when I did it was at first it was 6, then it was down to 4.5.
Okay.
It's been at 4.5 for a while though. It moved down. That was days ago when it was 6. I think.
Okay. But I've for the whole season thought Sam Houston State was the better team of these two. However, if you look at the recent games, Sam Houston's offense has pretty much been a no-show for a while now. The defense has still played pretty well, and it's not like they're dealing with a sick offense in Georgia Southern. I think the biggest question, and it's going to be the question through all these bowl games, is who's going to play. Because for Sam Houston, pretty much everybody's leaving because their coach is leaving. Thought they made a very good hire, by the way, in their head coach. But at the same time, it's a lot of these guys are in the portal, so who knows? Even if they do play, how long are we going to see their leash in this game, right? Because if they're out there and they're lollygagging, they might sit them. They might not want to stay in. It's very weird. But in terms of picking this game, I would pick Sam Houston. I did it last night with Western Kentucky, and I was much closer than I thought I was going to be. If you were watching the Western Kentucky game, Yesterday, the first drive of the game, James Madison about marched down the field, and I was like, oh, okay, this is going to get ugly. And Western Kentucky held their own. They still didn't cover, but I think it could be similar to that one. But I think Sam Houston could win the game because if everybody's playing and everybody cares, I think they're the better team, and I think they'll win. So give me the Bearcats, who we've been on all year. Scoop's going to say the same thing. We've been biggest Bearcat fans in the world this year.
Yeah, I cashed that over at the beginning of the season. Yeah, I've been a Sam Houston fan for as long as I can remember, all the way back to August. So, yeah, so the issue with, like, Andy pretty much nailed it. The issue with these bowl games is who's missing because of the dumb December transfer window. But, I mean, overall, Sam Houston's in worse shape. Like Andy just said, Keeler left to take over Temple. So the offensive coordinator took over this bowl game, Brad Cornelson, who's had a decent season. But like Andy said, the offense has been sputtering a little. I know 19 players entered the transfer portal for Sam Houston, only 4 for Georgia Southern. But the thing is, Sam Houston's letting all their transfers play here, which is interesting. So it looks like mostly all of them are playing. So their 2 sack leaders are still there. Bryson Hayes, Chris Murray, Caleb Weaver, David Fisher, Isaiah Cash. They lead the defensive backs in pretty much tackling and interceptions. They're all playing. So, and then both of their running backs are playing. Next year, they're all going to be gone. But so the strength of Sam Houston recently, though, has been their defense. As much as Watson was great leading this team on offense, they've only given up 20 points a game, 33rd in success rate against the pass, which is good because Georgia Southern and J.C. French like to throw the ball. And plus, the defensive coordinator is leaving for Sam Houston too, for North Texas, I think. But he's coaching the defense here as well. So it looks like everyone's going to play. But with the offense of Watson, they have a great running attack. Watson's a solid dual threat quarterback. They have a great running attack. Just feel like everyone's going to be on the same page here. It's just kind of like a one last hurrah for their team before they go on their separate ways. I get Georgia Southern's probably the better team here. They have a way better offense anyway, but I don't know. There's motivation is going to be there for Sam Houston, I think. It's the first ever bowl game, so I would definitely take the points if I was taking a side. So, I mean, the issue is, like Kyle knows, bowl games are high on predictability, so it's not a lot of payoff to play these lower games. I mean, especially with the transfer window. So, it's fun to watch, not fun to bet. So, I mean, even if Sam Houston went, everything goes to full go. Like Andy said, you never know how long they're going to play. They don't want to jeopardize their big injuries before going to their school. So, yeah, I would do that. I would definitely choose the under on next year's win total for Sam Houston since they have a whole new defense and most of their playmakers are gone on offense. But
I'm sure you guys will fall in love with them on the preseason show.
You're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right.
They could hire a head coach. Just saying.
So yeah, I'd be on the other side, Georgia Southern. If you guys want to suckle on the teat that is Sam Houston State's defense, I'll allow it. The defense has earned my respect. The Sam Houston State's defense is cool. But you guys spent a conveniently short amount of time talking about the Sam Houston State offense. It was awfully quick. You're not going to mention that it's been absolute shit. They brushed over it. They're like, yeah, it hasn't looked very good. No. It's looked real bad. It's looked absolutely terrible in the last few games. And I know you might look at Georgia Southern's defense and say, Georgia Southern doesn't play any defense. Yeah, they haven't seen an offense that even comes close to as bad as Sam Houston State's offense is. In fact, I pulled up the graphic. I put it in the YouTube video. On the season, the lowest ranked offense that Georgia Southern has seen this entire year is James Madison. That's at 93rd. That's the worst offense, according to FEI ratings, that they've seen all year, is James Madison. Sam Houston State's like 116th. This is a next level bad. So don't be surprised if Georgia Southern's defense actually looks pretty good. And then on the other side of the ball, like I said, Sam Houston State's defense is cool. Looks like everyone's going to play. Is the defensive coordinator going to coach?
Yeah.
Skylar Cassidy? Because he got a job.
Yeah, for North Texas, but he's playing. He's North coaching Texas, this and then leaving. Yeah.
All right, so the DC's going to play. So maybe I can get on board with the Sam Houston State defense a little bit. But, man, this is Clay Helton. It's not like Sam Houston State sees a ton of creative passing attacks in their schedule. Clay Helton might dice him up. Andy just doesn't like Clay Helton. He doesn't like that whole coaching tree, I don't think. So, yeah, I might even bet this, to be honest. It's not you know what I'm pissed about is I went into bowl season and I was like, guys, it's bowl season. Let's take it easy. Like, and I placed one bet. I think I've hit 5 in a row where I'm just not betting these and they keep hitting. So I'm starting to get pissed off. Like, maybe I should start betting them because I keep hitting every single one. The only one I actually bet was the under last night. So maybe I'll bet this. But yeah, I think Georgia Southern wins by a touchdown. Next, I actually like it. I like it to stay under too. Scoop. I know you mentioned the under.
That was what I was about to say. The only reason I'm afraid to bet the under is because what I said the other night, I think on the midnight show, so probably not that many people heard it. The bowl season overs, there's something that like always seemed to be a thing. And so far, 3-1 to the over in these bowl games. So like it does seem to be, I know
but the one that went under, that was the one we bet.
The only one that went under was the one that we literally said, this is an obvious under. So like, it does kind of scare me that I like the under in this game, and we liked the Cal UNLV one last night too. It was a good game, by the way.
All right,
Yeah.
let's talk real ball. Andy, get the hell out of here.
Hey, get that third place college basketball guy off the show.
All right, Prop Beaver's going to join us, and we'll talk Thursday night football.
Good luck, guys.
Football.
Oh, there's Prop Beaver. He's ready.
Hello.
All right, so I'm
up,
sure
Scoop?
you guys know my thoughts already if you watched the YouTube video I uploaded, but a brief summary. Now, full disclosure, obviously, as I'm sure you figured out, I played this one wrong. I mistimed the market. I have a Chargers -3. There's a Chargers -2.5 open. So I definitely mistimed the market, didn't play it right. Shit happens. I have to say I might be guilty of, so if you've watched my YouTube video, you know my stance on the Denver Broncos right now. The last 4 games, they've won 4 in a row, but if you just isolate the last 3 games, I mean, they do not look good. The offense looks bad. They're getting gifted points by the likes of Anthony Richardson, by the likes of Jameis Winston, that have just been giving the Broncos free touchdowns. You look at the final scores of these games, 31-13 over the Colts. Yo, they had 180 yards of offense in the game. The offense looked terrible. Jonathan Taylor didn't drop the ball, but we won't get into that. Jonathan Taylor allegedly drops the football.
You know how they reviewed that.
Yeah,
Don't get him started, please. For the love
it
of God.
seems like they were just trying to punish Jonathan Taylor to like send a message to, me and Prop Beaver got into a screaming match about this, and then he said, "I think you're right" at the end, so I won. Anyway,
It was never an argument. I just wanted you to stop talking about it.
all right, Denver, LA. So I'm on the Chargers. Put up Chargers -2.5 for me. I have it at -3. Obviously, I like 2.5 better. So what I was saying is I think the Denver Broncos have been skating by the last few games against bad teams and maybe haven't deserved a couple of these wins. And I'm looking at this as a sell high opportunity on Denver. Here's the problem, and here's where I may have swung and missed a bit. The market didn't really adjust. I mean, Denver's still a 2.5 point dog. In order for what I just said to come to fruition, we should be getting like the Chargers at a pick right now, where it's like, oh my God, this is just sell high on Denver. The fact that they still had Denver catching 2.5, 3 means the market agrees with me. So is there really value on a Chargers bet if the market didn't adjust to those wins? I don't know if I'm making any sense. Did that make sense what I just said, Prop Beaver?
Honestly, I was paying attention to the chat. I'm not gonna lie. I was a bit in tune with the chat right there. The Sky High.
He's a man of the people.
I'm a bit in tune with the 17-year-old in the chat. I mean, I don't know if it's a shtick or not, but I am a bit in tune with the bit, if it is a bit. So,
all right. So anyway,
sorry.
Okay, as far as the matchup, Broncos offense should be in a situation here on the road at LA. They have no run game whatsoever, and they haven't had a run game in months. This team hasn't been able to run the ball in over 2 months. Bo Nix has looked awful. Yeah, they've won a couple games. They're averaging like 33 points per game in their last 3. His numbers are terrible. 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, like a 63 passer rating. Bo Nix looks straight up bad against the Chargers defense that's probably getting Perryman back. One of their main run stoppers that they've been desperately missing the last few weeks. They get him back. I don't know how Denver's offense moves the ball in this game. Now, on the other side of the ball, Prop Beaver's about to tell you he hates the matchup for Justin Herbert, and he doesn't think the Chargers are going to be able to move the ball either. I don't necessarily disagree with him, but without Riley Moss, I'll take Justin Herbert. I'll take Justin Herbert at home against the Broncos defense without Riley Moss over Bo Nix in a nightmare of a spot. So low-scoring game. I think it stays under. Give me 21-17 10. No, what? Weird score. 22-12. Chargers win.
Are you going for a scoregami?
Yeah, put it up. 22-12. Chargers win.
All right.
The shit will, yeah, 22-12.
I bet FanDuel offers odds for a scoregami, those scumbags.
Is 22-12 a scoregami?
I don't know. I mean,
That's probably happened.
I don't know if it is. You actually want me to put the exact score on the screen?
Could you
I have 2-2 in the box pool today, actually.
I would feel better about it if you typed it on the screen.
Let me type it up for you. Yep, I got it.
Scoop, what are your thoughts on what I said?
Yeah, it's a big game, more so I guess the Chargers, since they're only 2 games up on the last playoff seed. But I mean, that playoff thing is pretty much over. But yeah, big game. First, Denver's defense against the pass is one of the best in the league. They're first in EPA per dropback. They have the 4th most interceptions, so they're going to be trouble for Herbert, I feel. Not only in that, but their run game, like you said, hasn't been exactly doing anything. So they're going to rely on Herbert here, who's a great quarterback. I'm not taking away anything from him. I'm sure Prop Beaver will explain too, but he struggles in man-to-man, something Denver runs constantly on defense. Herbert's 29th in completion percentage against man-to-man. He's way better against the zone. And this is with Denver's solid pass defense. Their line, they have the most sacks in the league with 49, second in pressure rate. And him trying to find a receiver with that pressure and struggles against man-to-man, the offensive line sucks in pass protection. They're the 6th worst in allowing sacks, and Herbert's hurt, even though it says he's not. He's playing through an ankle sprain. He doesn't have an injury designation, but he's definitely hobbled. So
he's fine.
But I'm not taking a side. I mean, I guess I would lean Denver, but I do like the under here. So in addition to Denver's defense, who should really play both sides of the game well, and shutting down Herbert in the passing game, the run game, which doesn't exist, like you said. Broncos are 4th in DVOA, and Chargers aren't much worse. They're 9th in DVOA. And you look at Denver's numbers, sure, their offensive numbers are decent, but like Kyle said, they're in the top 10 in points, but they're 24th in yards per play. They're not an offensive team. They're more of a benefactor of clutch turnovers than with short field positions and actually putting points on the board. So, but with the Chargers, they're plus 11 turnover differential. The Chargers defensive line is still one of the best. They're 7th in sacks. They're solid at pressures. And like Kyle said, Bo Nix is still a rookie. He still looks like he sucks. Not sucks. He looks average. He'll have some issues as good as he is. And also, both of these teams are just really great on defense. They have these 2 teams ranked number 1 and number 2 in points per play on defense, 1 and 2 in defensive touchdowns in general. Both of these teams have the number 2 and number 3 red zone defense. Neither team gives up huge chunk plays, so it's going to be a grind them out type of game. So again, I would lean at Broncos, but I do love the under here. The defense is going to keep them in it for most part on both sides. If you are betting a team, road teams are 5-9 on Thursday night this year. So I know let's be real. The Chargers don't have a dominant home field advantage. So except that one woman who they always show on TV, but no, I think this is going to be like a 19-17 type of game. So I'm going to take I'll put a 19-17 game.
Honestly,
we're
that's
making
a great
score
chat,
predictions.
Scoop.
Real quick, Proppy, before you go, I have a stat here in the chat, and I would like it but comments if someone could fact check this. He says, Kyle. he says, Kyle. Justin Herbert posted his favorite meal on his Instagram story. Every time he posts a steak, he throws 2 touchdowns in the first half. Trust me, in all caps. I would like that fact checked. Has he thrown 2 touchdowns in the first half every time he posts a steak?
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fade that fact. I don't believe that's true. I think that's also unbelievably
you think Justin
hard
Herbert
to
strikes?
verify.
Why? Because Justin Herbert strikes you as a fish guy?
He actually does. Yeah, he strikes me as a cod guy. I just don't believe it for one
Strictly
second.
cod.
Strictly cod. Yeah, so I have 3 bets in this one. Really like this game. First one's going to be the under. Both of these guys also want it. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I like to believe we're all sharp gentlemen. So let's go with the under here. I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible. Both these pass offenses, they're coming to a screeching halt. Bo, we're starting to see some Auburn Bo. Last 3 starts, 40-plus point drop in passer rating. The only reason you wouldn't tell is because the defense is scoring so many goddamn points off Anthony Richardson and Jameis Winston, the king of bad plays. Now you got the Chargers defense that, while they're missing a few cornerbacks, still got a ton of depth. On top of that, they play too high at one of the highest rates in the league, and Knicks, and more importantly, his main playmaker, Cortland Sutton, they have been far less effective against too high. So really like that. On top of that, Herbert's in the same boat right now. His passer rating has fallen 3 plus points, going from week 7 to 11 to weeks 12 to 15. Now going to face a Broncos pass defense that sits 5th in man coverage rate, and Herbert's stats against man coverage, honestly, quite terrible this year. Really don't like the matchup there. Both these rush offenses, non-existent thus far, have been for quite some time. And you got Denzel Perryman returning for the Chargers, who is a run-stuffing linebacker, one of the best in the league. So really like that to keep the Broncos at bay. And the fact that we got history on our side here. Last 12 or 14 matchups between these two at LA have gone under the mark, and I like the under here. Now let's get into Devon Vele. I'm going with the over 30.5 here. We're going to buy low. He's coming off back-to-back stinkers against the Browns and the Colts. Combined in those games, he had just 16 yards, 1 catch, and 5 targets. But the Browns play man coverage and one high at one of the highest rates in the league. And then he played the Colts, who play one high at one of the highest rates in the league and excel at defending the slot with Kenny Moore. Well, now this is the perfect matchup for him. Why? Because he's miles better against zone coverage and he's miles better against too high. The Chargers run both of those at 2 of the highest rates in the league. Well, the weak point of the Chargers secondary right now is defending the slot, and that's where he takes the majority of his snaps. Since week 11, they're 25th in yards per route run, 25th in yards per game, and 28th in first downs per route run allowed against the slot. We saw Vele drop 78 yards on these guys earlier this season. I feel like 30 yards here is a very achievable bar. I think it's up to 32.5. I have no problem with that. And then the last guy we're going to talk about really quickly is Vidal over 10.5 receiving yards. I think that's up to 12.5 here. I do not care. Running backs against the Broncos through the air are a cheat code. The only reason we didn't take one last week is because Anthony Richardson isn't capable of making the right play. And guess what? Jonathan Taylor didn't go over his total against the Broncos. Well, we got Vidal role in the Chargers offense growing a major way the last 2 weeks, 53% of the snaps, then 67% of the snaps. The rest of the season all had 25% or less. And we all know that Gus Edwards is no receiver. I mean, he has 2 receptions for 3 yards in 10 games. So somebody has to get these receptions against the Broncos. And last week, he saw a Tampa defense that was very similar to the Broncos. 5th most yards per game, 30th in DVOA, very blitz heavy. What'd he do? He saw 3 targets, 2 receptions, turned that into 13 yards. I think he's going to see even more snaps here, even more opportunities through the air. He already had 40 yards against Denver earlier this season, and that was on just 24% of the snaps. So going with Vidal over. Sorry for the mouthful, but 3 plays. Really like all of these. Hope you guys cash out.
So EBD in the comments says Sean Payton will reel Knicks in after the bad game, and I don't think that's a bad thought. He's been throwing some interceptions, 5 interceptions, I think, in the last 2 games. So maybe he's more conservative with Bo Nix. The reason I'm bringing this up, Chargers are the best defense in the NFL in passes shorter than 6 yards. So if you're thinking of seeing a more conservative game plan for Denver, those underneath throws, you can't really grab those against the Chargers. They're very good in that department. To beat the Chargers defense, they're a little more susceptible to the downfield pass. So if you're thinking Sean Payton's going to be conservative with Bo Nix, it may make his job even harder to get the ball up and down the field. Bolts up 22-12. Should we do a community parlay?
Yes, we should. Yes, we should. Let's hit it.
Hit it.
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. Community parlay is for the community. We community, making a parlay. Yeah.
You know, Shipley.
Kyle.
So Shipley went and fact checked it.
And did he say it's real?
He says the Justin Herbert steak fact is true. He spelled steak like a horseshoe steak.
Yeah, it sounds right for Shipley. So.
All right. Do you want to do the underdog? I'll do the community parlay.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's going to be the 3 props we just talked about. So let's just pull them back on the screen. I mean, actually, no, the 2. I mean, we only had 2 props. Vidal over the receiving yards. Devon Vele over the receiving yards. Somebody just asked why Vidal would go over his yards. His snap share has risen the last 2 games because J.K. Dobbins has gotten hurt the last 2 games. I'm not even trying to shit on you. I'm just trying to explain. So basically, J.K. Dobbins got hurt the last 2 games. Vidal is a rookie. We're getting later into the season now. This is typically when we see these guys usually get involved. I mean, Gus Edwards has been incredibly ineffective this season. They need a spark in the run game. Kamani Vidal is that. I mean, I think it was the other day where Kamani Vidal had a 15 or a 14-yard rush. That's not even that explosive. That was the first of such kind besides J.K. Dobbins on the roster this season. I mean, Gus Edwards is terrible. So they need to get Kamani Vidal more involved. He's gotten the bulk of the carries, bulk of the snaps now 2 weeks in a row. So, yeah, I have more faith in this guy getting over against the Broncos than Gus Edwards, who, again, 2 catches for 3 yards in 10 games this season. So that's my pick there. And then the underdog promo of the day is going to be Justin Herbert higher than a half total yard. If you want to replace Vidal, if you don't trust his role in this offense, you could do that. If you like to add a third leg, you're more than welcome to do that as well. And if you are not a customer and would like to become a new customer, you can do so in one of these yellow states. The promo code, it's BET. It's 3 letters. We haven't said that in a while. 3EEBET. Optimum robbing us of our joyous promo code.
I still got it working after you left.
Oh, so did you give out?
No, I didn't. I
like Herbert to throw a pick too. It's like plus 120.
I mean, that's some sharp. That's some sharpsmen right there.
So the community parlay so far is Thunder money line, Rockets money line. Someone said, "Don't trust Shipley. He puts cheese on his steak."
He does. He actually sent it in the Discord.
Wait, that was serious?
Like, no, dude. He sends like a gross, and he just slops like a Kraft like piece of cheese on his steak.
I thought that was a joke. He really does that?
He loves it. It's like his thing.
That's disgusting, dude.
Yeah, we should actually kick him out because of it.
Maybe like some blue cheese.
Who would ruin a good steak like that?
What the hell? All right.
Wow. I thought it was a joke. I thought he was.
It's like a movie Waiting, like putting ketchup on a steak. He's like, oh, nothing off beats steak, like a good thing of ketchup.
I haven't seen that movie in a minute.
He's an animal.
Puts cheese on his steak. He says. All right, cast your votes. Cast your votes. Guys, this weekend is loaded. So check this out. So Saturday morning, we're going live at 10:30 a.m. First, it's college basketball. We're gonna go through some games. Then me, Scoop, and Andy will do the 3 college football playoff games. Then me, Scoop, and Prop Beaver will do the NFL games if Scoop can hang around that long. That's like an hour and a half you'd be on, Scoop. So we got on Saturday, we got a lot of college basketball, 3 college football playoff games, and 2 NFL games. Actually, they're kind of good too.
Yeah, they are good.
They're good NFL games too. It's a loaded day for gambling Saturday. So if you're able to make it Saturday morning, I think we're going to start that at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. So it should be a fun one. Anyway, the third leg of the community parlay is Mavericks money line.
Shipley likes like probably Lunchables, like the turkey and cheese ones with the crackers.
So they like Sam Houston State money line. They like Chargers money line won the poll, and then we'll put one of the NBA teams that got second place. Who got second place? A lot of people voted for the Warriors, so we'll put the Warriors in. All right, what's the last leg of the community parlay? Cast your votes. The third leg is Suns money line. Prop Beaver.
Oh, Suns, okay.
Yeah, so it should be Rockets, Thunder, and Suns so far.
Okay.
What about me? What are you around Saturday? Send me a
Ronald?
Yeah, that's right. I think that's what he's talking about Saturday. He said, "What about me?" I think he was referring to Saturday. Yeah, send me a text, Ronald. So all right, cast your votes on this last one. And it looks like it's going to be Chargers. They want Chargers in there.
Okay.
So I know everyone's saying Denver's a public dog, and yeah, I think as a whole it might be a bit on the public side, but it's not like everyone's betting Broncos. It's not like that. There are a lot of people taking the Chargers too.
I think it's very split.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty split. So someone you did the odds already?
Yep, plus 312.
Plus 312. So the community parlay is Oklahoma City, Houston, Phoenix, Chargers, Thunder, Rockets, Suns, Chargers plus 312. Thanks everyone for watching. Enjoy your Thursday night. Hit me up at new league. Important. New league starting today. And all right, so for those of you that don't know how the league works, I explained at the beginning of the year, but then you don't take into consideration that a lot of people weren't here in the beginning of the year and they joined the community later. You submit picks every night. If you're a subscriber in the Discord and the website, you submit picks every night, and every week I give the winner $150 cash. So you submit your picks in the Discord, and then you get a thing where you see what division in your game and you compete. So that's how it works. It doesn't cost anything to enter. It's if you're already subscribed to the website, you could just be in it. So I got that same question like 15 times the last couple of weeks. So that's how that works.
Oh, and if you miss today, like tomorrow, you can still be in and like take underdogs and catch up. So
Right. If you miss a day, they just count as losses. You're not eliminated or anything. But like for example, there's 4 bets you have to submit tonight. If you miss today, you start 0-4 minus 2 units. But you could just take dog money lines. You could take Wizards money line at plus 400 and get right back into it if you want. Anyway,
and you get a solid $150.
Have a good and this trophy.
And this trophy.
Have a good night. Remember to bet responsibly. Hit me up in the Discord if you need me. I'll be here working the whole time. Bye, Dom.
Stay goated.